Hello and welcome back to Man vs Film. This is a top 10 list of movies that you can watch right now on Amazon Prime US for the month of May 2019. Let's get started. Number 10, Shark Water Extinction. Discovering that sharks are being hunted to extinction and with them the destruction of our life support system, activist and filmmaker Rob Stewart embarks on a dangerous quest to stop the slaughter. Following the sharks and the money into the elusive pirate fishing industry, Stewart discovers a multi-billion-dollar scandal that makes us all accomplices in the greatest wildlife massacre ever known. I didn't know anything about this subject matter at all going into this, and the filmmaker Rob Stewart really does bring to light a lot of the things and how it affects almost everybody. Where shark meat is making its way into our food chains, unbeknownst to us, how it really affects the wildlife and how it affects their environment, why these animals are just being harvested for their fins for just ridiculous reasons, how much money is really involved in this. It's all eye-opening and done in a terrific manner. And if that's not enough, when it gets to the end of the movie, there's a real heartbreaking moment as well, as it turns into something really unexpected. If you like your documentaries or you want to learn more about this unusual subject, I think this is a great starting point to just dive into. Number 9, Bloodsport. Frank Dux had spent most of his life being trained by Tanaka to participate in the Kumite, the ultimate martial arts tournament where participants are seriously injured or even killed. Frank decides to go despite being told by his superiors in the army that he can't because they need him. 2 army officers are sent to get him, and the trail leads to Hong Kong. While Frank advances, he knows that he may have to face Chong Li, the defending champion who has killed more than a few participants. I love my Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, particularly from this era, and even more so when they don't try to have too much of a plot. This is basically taking Van Damme to a fighting tournament and letting him fight. There is a crazy amount of adversaries for him to face off against, who are all weird and wacky, some more dangerous than others. We are given some fantastic fight scenes. He gets to do the splits a couple of times, kick ass and win out the day, and it's so much fun getting there. Bloodsport is a movie that I've watched several times. If you want a fun action movie that's just hand-to-hand combat, doesn't have anything really more below the surface than that, it's just entertainment, and I think this does it extremely well. Number 8, Escape from LA. The year is 2013 and Snake Plissken is back, but this time it's LA, which through the agency of earthquakes has become an island of the damned. But something has gone wrong with this new moral order, because the president's daughter has absconded to LA with a detonation device, and Snake is commandeered to retrieve it. The only time that John Carpenter has went back and done a sequel to one of his properties in the directing chair was Escape from LA. I was so excited about this movie when it came out in '96 because I love Escape from New York, which admittedly is the far better movie, but I do still love Escape from LA. It has some really shoddy special effects work, which I feel just add to the movie now. You get Kurt Russell back as this terrific anti-hero of Snake Plissken. There is a host of other character actors, particularly Bruce Campbell, who I always enjoy seeing in a movie as well, and it just plays out very similar to Escape from New York, which I love, so it's not a bad thing for me. I am one of the few people that will defend this movie, and I think more people should see it, especially if you've seen the first one. If not, I would check that out as well. Number 7, The Snarling. When a cursed new horror film is being made in their local village, Mike, Les and Bob see their chance to cash in and get famous. As the local detective inspector and his helpless Sergeant Haskins eventually trace a link to the recent body mutilations to this film, the race is on to stop the killings before our local heroes get caught up in the real blood and guts. This low-budget werewolf movie really won me over because of the fantastic leads. You get 3 performances of these guys who have obviously known each other for a long while, or seem to have that rapport with each other, who make it entertaining. You get the bumbling chief inspector who is kind of fun to watch as well, and you get some good gore going on at times. It is definitely a horror comedy, and it's definitely not for everyone. I found a lot to like in this movie, but I could overlook some of the failings that it did have. If you're willing to go with it, I think you might find something here that's quite enjoyable. Number 7, Ticks. Problem teens in Los Angeles join an inner city wilderness project in an attempt to get back in touch with their life's priorities. Led by do-gooders Holly and Charles, when they get to a campsite they begin having problems adjusting to the wildlife, particularly local marijuana growers using herb steroids to accelerate plant growth, and the mutated ticks that the leaky steroid system has created. Yes, it is another one of these chemicals make animals that aren't too much of a problem grow exponentially and become a huge burden, particularly for this group of kids who are looking for a second chance but are ultimately going to find death in creepy and horrific forms thanks to these giant ticks. I've watched this movie lots since I discovered it in the early 90s. It's one of those movies that when I first watched it had me clawing at my skin watching these horrific things. It's a little bit cheesy now, but it's a hell of a lot of fun. Something that I'm well worth checking out if you like your kind of weird monster movies like Eight-Legged Freaks or Them, those kind of things, Bugs. It's all kind of those wrapped up in one. Number 5, House LLC. 5 years after an unexplained malfunction causes the death of 15 tour-goers and staff on the opening night of a Halloween haunted house tour, a documentary crew travels back to the scenes of the tragedy to find out what really happened. Found footage felt played out for me, which is why I never initially went and checked out House LLC. That and the kind of poster that never really made me want to go, I want to check that out. But one night, I don't know what happened, I clicked play and I found a wonderful movie, a truly terrifying horror movie that uses found footage with great effect. This is one of those unsung horror movies that I feel everybody should be checking out, especially if you love horror movies as much as I do. I think this is fantastic. I think it's one of the best found footage movies, it's one of the best creep factor movies. It's just odd, the weird setup and production values, it all works, it's all fantastic, and this is a terrific haunted house movie. Number 4, Shutter Island. US Marshal Teddy and his partner Chuck travel to a secluded island home to a mental facility called Shutter Island. The reason for Teddy's arrival is to investigate the disappearance of a missing patient named Rachel. As Teddy and Chuck dive deeper into their investigation to find out where Rachel has gone, they reveal the dark secrets of Shutter Island. I was so excited when this movie was coming out. I'm a huge Martin Scorsese fan, so I really wanted to love this movie, and I left the cinema feeling deflated, feeling that I had missed something, feeling as though this movie wasn't the masterpiece that I was hoping for. A year or two later, I decided to give it a rewatch, just to make sure. And I've never done such a 180 on a movie before. I left that second viewing going, wow, masterpiece. And that is the magic of this movie. Scorsese, the fantastic director that he is, has created 2 movies in one. You know, you get your first initial opinion as you watch it, and then when you know everything about that plot, the second time you watch it, scenes are repurposed, they are changed into something completely different, something that means more the second time round. This was a terrific magic trick from Scorsese, and it's got terrific performances in it as well. But it's the story, especially the second time round, once you know everything, that really makes it just bloom into something more fantastical. Shutter Island is an absolute treat, something that should be seen at least twice. Number 3, Creepshow 2. EC Comics inspired weirdness returns with these tales. In the first, a wooden statue of a Native American comes to life to exact vengeance on the murder of his elderly owners. In the second, 4 teens are stranded on the raft in a lake with a blob that is hungry. And in the third, a hit-and-run woman is terrorised by the hitchhiker she accidentally killed. Horror anthologies are something that I always go to. I love to see new ones, but they're never really that fulfilling. They never really have a consistency along the stories. You may find one that you love, or a couple that you hate, or some that are just average. For me, Creepshow 1 and 2 seem to have a really solid base. You know, the short stories were always terrific, always fun and very varied and different, which is what we have here. We have a more homely first tale, we have a terrific second tale, and a gore-filled third tale. And they all work terrifically well. They all are different enough, and they all have the same kind of underlying thematics to them that just make it interesting enough. By far, my favourite of this one is the middle tale, The Raft, which is something I've always loved and always thought was the best tale. And I really grew to an appreciation of the third story this time, especially because of the effects. The final moment with the hitchhiker are just downright disgusting, but terrifically well done. And it's all practical as well. I love Creepshow too. You don't need to have seen the first one. It's just 3 good horror tales wrapped up in one package. Number 2, mid-90s. 13-year-old Stevie lives in Los Angeles with his aggressive, fitness-obsessed older brother Ian and single mother Dabney. One day, Stevie bikes past a skate shop, admires the boastful camaraderies of the skateboarders outside the shop, and returns the following day. He befriends young skater Ruben, who introduces him to the rest of the group. Although an inexperienced skater, Stevie is drawn into the group and aspires to imitate their daredevil behaviour and antisocial attitudes. This coming-of-age tale, directed by Jonah Hill, is just perfect. It has this character who's starting to form complex emotions, who doesn't really know his place in the world, is trying to find out where he belongs, and this is something that he can attach himself to. This group of people taking on both their good and bad traits and building it into his personality as he grows. There's some fantastic set pieces in it. It is one of the best car crash scenes I think I've seen in a movie. At one point where you see nothing, just the ramifications of it, and it's enough. But we really get an idea into all these characters, and I thought it was a terrifically affecting movie, one that I absolutely adored, and I think it was a fantastic directing debut. Number 1, A Quiet Place. On a devastated Earth overrun by lethal and ever-hearing predators, the Abbotts struggle to survive in a desolate New York City in a new era of utter silence. As this type of invader is attracted to noise, even the slightest sounds can be deadly. However, it's already been 12 months since the powerful monster's first sightings, and this resilient family still stands strong. Now more than ever, don't make a sound. A Quiet Place was a terrific horror movie. It's one of the rare times I've been in a cinema where there has been absolute silence and nobody is making a sound whatsoever. Everybody holding their breath at the carnage that's going on screen. And that's the magic of this movie. You get the first half of the movie, which is pretty solemn and extremely quiet. Very little sounds whatsoever as the family just go about their life, living day to day, following their routine. When the action kicks in the second half, it really just ramps everything up and puts you on the edge of the seat because you have spent time with the family, getting to know them, getting to know each person as characters. You want them to survive. When this threat happens, you are terrified for their existence, and it works terrifically well, creating one of the best horror movies of recent years. So there we have it, 10 fantastic movies for you to check out this month on Amazon Prime US. I hope you find something that you really want to look at, something you haven't heard of before. If there's something I've missed off my list, give me a recommendation in the comment box below, something that I can check out, and maybe next month it'll make it onto my list. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time on Man vs Film.